Live fast, die young.
Well, this isn't an industry interview, but I haven't got the Lone Wolf. I haven't got the Lone Wolf intro sequence yet, but there's one coming. So, hi, I'm Lance from the Outcast Creative, and this is part 2 of playing the new Lone Wolf adventure series. When I say new, it was made in the 1980s, but these are the new editions. These are available online to buy now in hardback. Just check it out. Just type in Lone Wolf Adventure Series into Google. In fact, I haven't put all the links in the bottom, but I will do that later. I'm joined by my fellow adventurer today, who's one of the moderators from the Critical Drinkers stream, where I'm also a moderator. So I'm just going to welcome Joshy Levesque. Actual resemblance of Josh may not resemble photo. So Josh, good to have you on board. I'm just going to explain to everyone that Josh is not familiar with the world of Lone Wolf, just like my last guest, was also not familiar with it. He hasn't played the books before, and I actually prefer to have guests in who don't know anything about the Lone Wolf series, because I'm trying to spread the word about what a cool world it is, and it should be great to get a TV show about it, but I think the fantasy TV genre is going to be a bit oversaturated by the time that is possible. Josh is also a moderator on my channel as well. So, Josh, do me a favor and keep an eye on the sex bots.
Sure thing, yeah.
If you can. We got hit up by quite a few of them last time, even though, you know, it's just a small people. Desert Phoenix is back with us again. Thank you very much for joining us. That's great. I know there's a few people watching, not many. I didn't advertise this. I'm very sorry about that. Originally, I was going out tonight, but I'm feeling a little bit poorly, so I need to stay in the warm. So I thought, well, let's do this stream, because I'm going to do all 32 books, and I'm only halfway through book 1, so I better crack on, you know. So if you're not familiar with the world of Lone Wolf and the Lone Wolf Adventure series, these books were originally released in the 1980s and 1990s by Joe Deaver, who was a big fan of Dungeons and Dragons, but he wanted to sort of create his own world, and he did, which is the world of Magnamund. And that's the world that we're playing the adventure today. Magnamund is policed by these people called the Kai, who are a bit like Jedi, and they all train in this place called the Kai Monastery. And the actual adventure series begins with the Kai Monastery being attacked. It's located in this bit up here on the map, if you can see that. And in our first part of our adventure, all of the Kai are kind of like named after animals, and our young acolyte, our Luke Skywalker, if you like, is called Lone Wolf. And we just had to set off a beacon, a bit like in Lord of the Rings, where you have to set off a beacon, warning everybody that the country is under attack. We've just managed to do that. And now we have escaped from the monastery, which is now a burning ruin, and we're assumed to be the only one left alive. Now, I don't know if you can see this, Josh. Hopefully you can. But basically, in the distance, we can see the city of Holmgard. And I think the next part of our mission is basically to get there and warn the king. Warn the king that the kingdom is under attack, right? So, and in order to get to that city, we are going to have to cross a river. And there's a bridge that we may be able to use to cross the river, or there might be alternative routes that we can use. So in the distance, so this is where we're picking up the adventure from. I'm going to skip through some of the long descriptions, but this is one of them. So in the distance, the tall grey white walls of the spires of Holmgard can be seen. Colourful banners of the city's guild are fluttering from the battlements, etc., etc., etc. The mighty river Eledil, E-L-E-D-I-L, Eledil, wends its way from its source from the Dumcrag Mountains through the capital and then out towards the broad estuary of Holmgard. The natural beauty of this grand vista makes you feel proud and fortunate to have been born a Summerlanding, or Summerlander as they're sometimes referred. When you turn your gaze towards the distant western peaks of the Drum Crags, hovering above its mountain, we can see the dark clouds and the swarms of Zlandbeest and Krans. That's basically where we've just come from. The attacks just happened. They're mustering their numbers in preparation for an attack on the capital. In the narrow mountain passes below these swarms, you can see vast columns of enemy troops on the march. Clearly, their intention is to assault and lay siege to Holmgard. You estimate the main body of their vast army is no more than 2 days' march from the city walls. Right, okay. So the King's Highway from Holmgard to Torren crosses the fertile crossing plains surrounding the capital. At a gallop, you reckon you'll be able to reach the outer fieldwork of the city defences in under an hour. But to do so on horseback would entail having to cover several miles of open countryside without any protection overhead. This is going to make you vulnerable to attack from the air by the marauding Kran. These Kran are a bit like the what do you call the winged beasts in Lord of the Rings, the flying things. They're a bit like them. So if you're wandering around on horseback, Josh, you're quite vulnerable to being attacked by those in the daylight.
Okay.
So you ponder your alternative routes that could bring you to the capital and determine 2 other options. Nearby, you can see a small river. It's a tributary of the main one, winds its way across the plain. If you were to abandon your horse, you could use the gentle current of this to carry you downstream towards the city's outer defences. Riverbanks are steeply undercut for most of the way. They'd offer you some cover from the fieldworks. Or the final alternative, situated between the river and the King's Highway, is a vast burial ground. This place is called the Graveyard of the Ancients. It was constructed many centuries ago in an age before Summerland claimed to this land and transformed into fertile wonder you see today. The tombs and crumbling monuments of this ancient necropolis would certainly conceal your approach to the city, but it's a forbidden area. Don't like the sound of that. You shiver when you recall tales you've heard about the nameless horrors that lie within. So waiting to corrupt and consume the unwary trespasser. Okay, so Josh, here are the options, right? So if you choose your chances out on the open plain, turn to 289. So that's by way of the King's Highway. If you decide you'll stand a better chance of reaching the capital by going in the river, you can leave your horse behind, go to 189, or you can brave to risk the unknown perils of the Graveyard of the Ancients, turn to 510. So what do you reckon? It's basically road, river, or graveyard.
Boy, that was a lot to retain.
Well, the river is potentially the least dangerous, but may not be that effective because it's only going to take you to the main river, and then you've still got to get across that. The road is the most direct, but you'll be the most vulnerable. The going through the Tomb of the Ancients potentially could be the most dangerous, but offers the most protection.
I guess I'll go through the river.
Do you want to go for the river? Okay. All right, we're going to go to 189. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, so here we are. Well, there's even a little drawing.
Nice.
And good news, I think we found a canoe. So here we go. See this little picture here? We get to the river's edge, there's a canoe. Okay. So large tree trunk is grounded on the clay bank, and next to it there's a small canoe. I guess we're not going to worry about who it actually belongs to. Of course, that didn't end well for people that stole the canoes in the film Southern Comfort, directed by Walter Hill in 1984, if you've ever seen that. If you wish to use the log as a means of floating downstream, kind of doing a Gollum number and kind of hiding behind the log and floating down the river with the log.
Okay.
That's one choice. Or you can use the abandoned canoe. What do you want to do, log or canoe?
I guess log. I guess.
Yeah. Well, if you're trying to remain inconspicuous, I think that's I think that's a good choice. And actually, as it turns out, that was the right one. You inspect the one-man canoe and discover that it's in poor condition. The wood of its hull is split and warped, and the unsteady craft is leaking in several places. So if we just jumped in that and gone down the river, I don't think we would have got very far.
Yeah, probably not.
So, oh, hang on a minute. That's not the right choice. Let me go back. I feel like we went wonky there because that's the canoe choice. Oh, okay. Hang on. So,
did we go like ahead a step or two?
No, I turned. I think I accidentally turned on to the canoe option. 189. Okay, so rivers.
Oh, by the way, Lance.
Yeah.
I don't think I'll be able to look at the live chat because I think that's what cut me off to begin with. Is that I left this because I'm using my phone to do this. So like when I left, one app to go to my YouTube app, I think it kind of disconnected. So I'm not going to be able to look at the live chat.
Okay, don't worry. I've got the live chat up. So if we get major spam bot attacks, I'll be able to see. Okay. Yeah, I was right. I turned to the wrong thing. So the canoe is in poor condition, but it is possible to patch it up. But anyway, after a struggle, you managed to free the heavy trunk from the riverbank. Gathering your equipment in a bundle, you start on top of the log, slowly wade into the river. The current soon takes you downstream. After 20 minutes, you hear the sound of horses along the left bank. Now, if you wish to hide behind the log, turn to 294. If you wish to climb on the log and prepare to catch the rider's attention, turn to 253. I think we probably want to hide, don't we? Otherwise, it kind of defeats the object of hiding behind this log in this river.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to hide behind the log 294. I might occasionally type some of these numbers into chat so I don't forget where we are. In fact, I'm going to do that now with this one. Okay, because it's easy for me to lose my place here. Although there are these convenient things that I keep forgetting to move. Right. Peering over the log, you catch sight of the approaching riders. These men are clad in green uniforms and they're racing along the narrow track which runs parallel to the river. You recognize them as border rangers, so they're kind of like Aragorn types. Members of the regiment of King Ulnar's army that policed the forest and borders of the realm. Now, King Ulnar is the guy we're trying to get to. So we're trying to get to Holmgard, where the king sits, and we're trying to warn the king, by the way, there's a whole army coming your way. You better prepare,
Yeah.
That's our mission. One of their small group is wounded and slumped forward over the neck of the horse. Close behind them are a score of doom wolves, I guess pretty similar to the wolves in Willow, giving chase. And then behind them, there are some Gaiac riders. They're like goblins, basically, firing arrows at the fleeing rangers. A missile whistles past. One ranger drops from his horse and rolls headlong down into the riverbank. There's a black shafted arrow buried deeply in his right thigh. Now, if we wish to help this ranger, that's one option, or we can stay behind the log as it continues to drift downstream. So do you want to help him out, or do you want to stay hidden and keep going? Tough choice. Yeah.
I guess just stay on the log, I guess.
And he dies a horrible death before our eyes, I'm guessing. Let's see. 233. Okay. 233. Here we go. Soon you feel the river current is steadily getting stronger. You look downstream and your pulse quickens when you see you're approaching a large whirlpool. I guess this is what happens when we don't stop and help wounded people. You feel you'll be dragged down and drowned if you enter this treacherous vortex. So you quickly swim towards the bank. Okay, well we're out of the river now.
Wait, so did the soldier guy, did he die?
I don't know. We didn't get to find out.
Okay.
We just shot ahead. So you pause on the bank for a few moments to put on your pack and adjust your equipment, and then you set off on foot towards the distant field works of Holmgard. Okay, so turn to 494. All right, 494. Let's have a look. So, and we're on 494 now. I'm just going to pop that in chat as well. Boom. Okay. As you race across the open field towards the cover of the nearest woodland, a Kran swoops down and attempts to snatch you up in its claws. So basically, as soon as we broke cover, we were seen by one of these things, and it swooped at us. Before you can draw your weapon and prepare to fight it, the creature abandons its attack and flies away, shrieking with cold malice. You reach the woodland, but you've lost two endurance points. So that's like hit points. Okay, now, at the start of our adventure, we were on 21, but our maximum is 22. And every time we go through a section of the book and we don't do anything, in other words, we don't fight, because we've got the power of healing, we can opt, if we want, to heal 1 point. But I haven't chosen to do that yet. So we may want to do some healing at some point. Anyway, and we can do that 10 times. But I've done it a couple of times already. I think we've got 7 of those left. Okay, so we've gone down from 19 to 17. I've got that on the right and white here. So, okay, all right. Having been pecked in the arse by this big creature, we've now gone to 400. So, Josh, talking of fantasy TV shows, did you watch the first couple of episodes of Willow?
No, I just I've never watched the original movie. I just have no interest in it now.
Right. Well,
and after hearing what you've said about it, Drinker, I have no interest.
I'm a big fan of the original movie, and by the way, that's the first ever film I saw on the cinema in America in 1988. First ever movie. That's
cool.
And I have my diary from that year, which is here, if you can see that. And in it, I cut out all the newspapers that were showing the films at the time.
Oh, that's cool. Die Hard, yeah.
Yeah, Die Hard, Big, Coming to America, Midnight Run, all great films. Bull Durham, I wasn't a massive fan of that.
Where did you see it?
I saw it in Utica, upstate New York, which is where the summer camp was. There was a re-release of Bambi that year as well. I saw all of these movies except for Bambi. I saw a ton of films that year. I'm actually publishing this as a book and calling it 1988.
That's cool.
I wrote a diary every day that year. So, and I'm gonna review every single film that I went to see, like what I thought of it then and what I think of it now.
Okay, yeah, that'll be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of going to be cool. That's the next book I'm putting out. Desert Phoenix has expressed his Willow more like Will Woke. I mean, I like the original movie. It's very Star Wars. I don't mind that. It's a pretty simple concept of good versus evil. It's got a really interesting world and really interesting creatures. And the first 20 minutes of the TV show is just awful. It's just a lot of pandering to current social narratives, and there's nothing really about that world and that place that we know. And some very weak dialogue and some not great acting.
So what's like the wokeness in it?
I mean, it's just there's just a lot of pushing of I think it's gender stuff and that kind of thing and LGBT characters. I'm all okay with that.
That's right. I remember hearing about that.
I actually I don't mind that
relationship in it. I think, right?
I don't really care whether there are gay characters or not. I'm quite happy with gay characters in any universe. But I want to see a plot set within the world that is interesting, that is captivating. It's fantasy. I want to just watch a fun show.
Yeah, so it sounds like this story is like the writers are putting like the maybe like the homosexual stuff ahead of like the story.
Well, I think basically the agenda politics are in front of the story so far. And I've seen 2 episodes and I'm not impressed. And I just think, where's the good writing here? It's But anyway,
that's too bad.
Let's get back to our adventure. So we're on. We've gone to 400. We've covered less than a mile of woodland when we hear the sounds of battle taking place, and it's not the film production crew of Willow having had a falling out on location. The noises are to the west of our current location. Now we're traveling. The city is in the east that we've got to get to.
Okay.
If you wish to head nearer to this battle noise, turn to one option. If you do not follow the sounds, you can continue on a southerly course through the trees by turning to 8. Now, on the map, we're somewhere in the wilderness between the monastery and the city of Holmgard. The city of Holmgard is towards the southeast, so south is the direction we want to go. So you want to keep going south?
Wait, what was the other option?
Investigate the sounds of a battle.
I guess maybe investigate the battle.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Okay. On this occasion, your curiosity gets the better of you, and I mean, yeah, we don't want to appear too wimpy all the time, do we? Okay. Wow. Well, there's a massive, big splurge of text here, which I will do my best to shorten. But there's also quite a nice picture, which I'll show you. So basically, we're witnessing a guy being attacked by a load of Gyaks. Now, the Gyaks are like the Dark Lord's goblins. So it's this guy who's clearly he's got some kind of magical powers because his hand, either that or he's got the gauntlet from Iron Man.
So there's like creatures attacking him on the side there?
Yeah, so the creatures that are attacking him, there's one of them there. That's a Gyak. So a Gyak are like goblins. They're like they're the mainstay of the army of the bad guy. Okay. So so we're under attack. He's under attack from a group of Gyaks. So basically, 5 Gyaks clad in dull red uniforms make a desperate frontal attack with their spears held in readiness to stab the apprentice. This guy is an apprentice magician. I guess we know that from the clothing that he's wearing. Now, there's a big description about how he fires a bolt of lightning and sends them tumbling in all directions. A Gyak taller than the others curses his faltering troops and encourages them to go forward. With weapon ready, you leave the tree line and enter the ruins, the tumble of fallen columns and broken moss-covered walls. So we're coming into the ruins of something, so we might have stumbled into that area of the ancient creepiness anyway. You're able to make your way unseen through a ring of broken pillars, and you enter the sanctorium. I think this is in the middle of some kind of circle. From here, you catch a glimpse of the defenders. To your amazement, the Imhotep temple is being defended by one man no older than yourself. So there you go. He's as young as you, Josh.
Okay.
And not an old bastard like me. Okay. So, yeah, 5 of these things are trying to attack this guy. Then you see him turn, raise his left hand just moments before a bolt of blue flame shoots from his fingers into the Gyak soldiers, scattering them to the ground, close to where you're hiding. A purple-faced Gyak scuttles past and climbs one of the pillars at the rear. He's got a long curved dagger. Okay, so one's kind of snuck round behind him and is about to try and attack him from behind. So here are the options, Josh. We can either shout a warning to the young wizard. We can rush forward and try and intercept the Gyak for ourselves, or we can pick up a chunk of temple marble and throw it at the Gyak's head. So we can either try and rush him, shout a warning, or throw the marble at the creature.
I'll go with intercepting. See what that does.
Intercept. Okay, let's rush him. 78. I mean, Lone Wolf is pretty quick. Yeah, just as the Gyak makes his leap, you race forward and strike out with your weapon. You strike him in mid-air and deflect his blow away from the young wizard's back. There we go. The instant it hits the ground... Oh, hang on, I'm going to deflect the... Yeah. The instant it hits the ground, you jump onto its struggling body and strike again. Okay, so he's already wounded. This is how the combat system works. So he's got combat skill of 9, right? We, however, have got combat skill of 18. That's double him. He is already wounded, so he's not as strong as they would be normally. But we also have a broadsword, which is our preferred weapon. That gives us +2, so that's 20. And also, we picked up a really cool broadsword that is of such a nice ornate design earlier that gives us another +1. So we've actually got combat skill of 21 to his 9, which is a difference of 11. So what happens is you go to this chart at the end of the book, and you look at the combat ratio. So it's 11 or greater, and then you roll a dice. So, and then we'll see what we do. Okay, so I'm just going to share my screen for a second. Let me just close that. Where are we? Present. Here we go.
So what's the dice roll again for?
So the dice roll. Here's the dice. We're just going to show that quickly. So this is the combat results table here, and you work out what the difference is in your ability. So in our case, it's plus 11. So we're on the highest chart, and then you roll on the plus 11 chart to see how much damage you do and how much damage you receive. Now, it can go all the way to the other way. We could be fighting somebody at minus 11. And if we were doing that, we would have to roll a 10 to do any damage. So you always roll on a D10. So 10 is obviously the highest. So the higher we roll, the better. So here we go. Let's do a throw. Oh, D10. Yeah, there we go. Throw. We have rolled a 3 on plus 11 or greater. You see, we've still killed him because we've got such better odds than him.
Ooh, nice.
We do 11 points of damage to him, but we take 2. So we're now down to 15. I don't like going below 15, so we definitely want to rest up. Also, when you get to eat a meal, that can also cure your endurance points. But we killed him in a single blow because he's got endurance of 9, so he's dead. And then you see if he was still alive, it would go to another round of combat, and you'd do another die roll, and that's how it works. So we have killed him. Oh, let me close that. Right, let's see what happens now.
So the strike, it was just like what, like a punch or something?
Well, basically, no. We attacked him with our sword. We probably chopped his head. We probably chopped his head off.
Wow. Okay.
Due to our amazing skill and ability, and the fact that he was wounded because we already got the jump on him, so he was a lot weaker than they are normally.
Good old beheading.
So if you win this combat turn, well, we certainly did. If you win this combat turn to 504, and I'm just going to update. I'm just going to update that on the chat in case I lose my place again. There we go. 504. Right. Okay. Upon seeing you win the fight, the Gaiac officer shouts, "Oh God, oh God," to his remaining troops. Immediately, I assume that means retreat, because immediately they shit themselves and run away. It does not say that in the text. It's less profane. The black-clad Gaiac leader follows them and pauses when he reaches the tree line, turning to stare at you. He shakes his mailed fist and screams, "Ragnek, Roggag, okay, Ogdog, Ograg, Roggag, guy," whatever that may mean. I have no idea. Then he holsters his barbed flail and melts away into the trees. Melts, it disappears sharply, I would imagine. Surveying the scene of the recent battle, you count 15 dead Gaiacs. So this guy killed 15 before we came along. The young wizard emerges, wipes his brow, and walks towards you with a smile on his face, his hand extended in friendship. Well, I'm glad about that. So let's find out who he is. We have to go to 547 to find out who he is. 547. 54. Okay, right. So there's quite a lot of text here, but I'll abbreviate as usual. So basically, he's a young guy with brooding eyes, shakes his hand. "My eternal thanks, Kai warrior. My modest powers are nearly drained. Had you not come to my aid, I fear I would have ended my days atop a Gaiac lance." He's rather weak and unsteady on his feet. He says his name is Baindon. We'll call him Brandon for short. "I'm a journeyman to the Brotherhood of the Crystal Star, the Magician's Guild of Torren." Okay, so Torren is the town that's above Holmgard on the map. And the Magician's Guild can be quite useful to know in this world. "My guildmaster sent me to the Kai with an urgent message." He removes an envelope and hands it to you. "As you see, I have the open letter. I've opened the letter and read its contents when the invasion began. The letter is a warning to the Grand Master, Kai." So basically, he was trying to warn your kind of order about the attack, but didn't
Okay.
get there in time. And he says, "I fear we've been betrayed." Yeah, that's part of this story, that there was somebody in a position of power who betrayed the order. And we don't know who that is. And I don't think I ever found out who that was in the first 10 books, although if it did come up, I've forgotten. So yeah, I fear we were betrayed. One of my order, a senior brother called Venotar, was discovered to have been experimenting with the forbidden mysteries of dark magic, the black arts of the Dark Lords. 10 days ago, he denounced the Brotherhood and killed one of our elders. He's since disappeared. We believe he is now in league with the Dark Lord Zagana. Okay, Zagana is basically like the Emperor. All right.
Okay.
In Star Wars. You tell Baindon what has happened at the monastery and of your mission to reach Holmgard and warn King Olnar. Silently, he removes a gold chain from around his neck and hands it to you. From the chain hangs a small crystal star pendant. Okay, right. Well, that's going to be a useful item that we have to write down in our bag. So we've got a crystal star pendant, which I think will probably come up at some point. Crystal star pendant. You can pick up all sorts of stuff in this series. Some of the stuff is useful, some of it's not. And you can only carry so many things in your bag. But this one's so small, I don't think it counts as an item in your backpack. You thank him. You place the chain around your neck. Very trusting of me. It notably allows you... Oh, right. Remember to mark this item on your action chart. Now, okay, this has got a special ability. It allows you to do a free die roll at a crucial moment. So
okay.
If we
that
do
sounds like a good thing.
Yeah, but you're only allowed to use it once per book. So it's a kind of one-shot deal thing, and then I guess it probably takes time to recharge. So yeah, okay. So once his strength's returned, this guy goes. We must leave this place before the Gaiacs come back. I've delivered my message. You still have many miles to go before you reach Holmgard. Oh God, do we? Okay. Gets to his feet, points towards the trees. That way lies the Alemma Bridge. Alemma. It is by far the swiftest route from here to Holmgard, but it may longer not be the safest. May the blessings of the Kai be with you. Okay. So, and we have just visited the ruins of Ramesses for future reference. That's like a special location on the map. So now we go to 448. Okay. We haven't got any choices yet. Coming up. 448. So is it pretty hot there right now, where you are?
No, it's a little on the colder side. I mean, it's it's December here in New York, so it's winter. So no snow yet. So that's good.
So Desert Phoenix, who's always tunes in, and by the way, thanks for that, Desert. Much appreciated. Do share the stream. I picture the Gaiacs more like orcs than goblins based on their size. Actually, yeah, you might be right about that because there's not a lot of pictures of them in scale. I just remember that the Gaiac miniature figures, they brought out this range of miniature figures for Lone Wolf, were quite small, but I could be wrong about that. So maybe they are more like... I know there are two different types of main creatures in the army. I thought the Gaiacs were the smaller ones, but there's another one as well. So maybe they are the goblin type ones. Okay. Anyway, so we head out the northeastern edge of the ruins. And we continue on. The going is difficult, but you draw comfort from the fact that the thick canopy of branches keeps you hidden from the enemy flyers. And we catch glimpses of these Kran and Zlam beast in the skies above. So basically, one of them is like a small winged creature. The other one is like a big fuck off ginormous one. It's like a dragon. So you don't want to fight that one. And what they do is they carry these cargo nets with loads of Gaiacs packed inside. So they're almost like delivering paratroopers.
Yeah,
which is pretty interesting. I quite like that idea. So the trees begin to thin out. We see a forest track in the distance. Upon reaching the edge of this track, you see two Gaiacs standing guard over the trail. They're less than 50 yards away. You wait until they're both looking in the opposite direction, then you hurry across the trail and disappear into the timberland beyond. You've not gone very much further before you catch sight of a log hut among the trees. Right now, before we do our next choice, I'm going to use my healing power to heal some endurance, because whenever you're in a section of the book and you're not fighting, you can do that. And you get these kind of like skills, and it's a bit like an RPG on a computer. The further you go into the game, the more skills you get to add. So every time you go to a new book, you get to add like another skill, and you get to choose a certain number of Kai disciplines before you start. So healing, 1 endurance point for every numbered section of the book you pass that doesn't involve combat. Okay, so I'm going to use it. We've just gone through 2, so I'm going to use it twice and bring him back up to 17. Okay, so of course, I suspect there's some pretty nasty creatures to come. We don't want to be too weak. Okay, so do we want to investigate the log hut, or do we want to carry on into the forest? Those are the choices.
So we don't really know what's in the log hut, like at all? Or
no, it just says that you see a log hut. Might be something interesting in there. Don't know, or do we continue?
I say continue, yeah.
Yeah, continue. All right, so continue is to 495. Okay. I know a lot of the pathways in this do lead towards the bridge. I can't remember if
So if we skip like the log cabin, does it say what was in there?
Or... No. Yeah, you only get
we have no idea.
Find that out if you investigate it. Okay, well we've decided to press on. So we press on through the trees, and they begin a gradual descent. We catch a few tantalizing glimpses of the river Unorum. I think that's a tributary of the main river. At this point, the river's almost a mile wide. The major watercourse is one of the 3 great rivers that leads of Summerland, the other 2 being the Tor and the Lidl. Yeah, okay. Blah, blah, blah. We can see mountains and so on and so on. As you push on through the trees, we catch sight of the twin stone towers that guard the approach ramp and gateway to the bridge's monumental span. Okay, so we found the bridge. We can see it in the distance. In the shadow of the towers, there's an area of leveled ground paved with ancient slabs of granite. This paved area is known as the Alma Meter. It's often been used as a meeting and trading place for merchants, but appears to now be being used for more sinister purposes. It's teeming with Gyaks and Drakirum. That's it. Drakirum are the other creatures. They've been landed here by cargo nets under Zlambeast. These troops are now mustering in readiness to support a fierce battle that's being waged in the center of the bridge at this very moment. You judge it would be suicidal to try and cross by the Alma Meter because it's choked with them enemy troops, but you're mindful that any attempt to swim across the river at this point would fail. It's icy cold and the crossing is too wide. Before we go any further, we have to eat a meal or lose 3 endurance points. Well, fortunately, we've got about 3 meals to spare. So I think in fact, we've got 11 meals. So we're okay. Wow. We're okay on the meals front. Yeah, whenever you get the meals, you have to eat one. Okay, so that's gone down to 10. All right, clearly we've got like a rucksack full of Kentucky Fried Chicken. So we're right there. And we're going to turn to 469. Okay, so it's going to give us some options about how we're going to get across the river. You pass through some dense forest land and you soon arrive at the turnpike parallel to the Great River. For several minutes, you remain hidden in the undergrowth and observe the movement of the enemy troops. The tops of the twin towers of the bridge's grand gatehouse are still visible in the distance. Your detour through the forest has brought you to a place 300 yards downstream of the bridge. There's an increasing activity on the forest roadway as enemy troops recently landed are using it to form attack columns to advance onto the bridge. You must get across the turnpike without being seen and then make your way to the water's edge. You can only hope once you reach the riverbank, you'll find some way to get across. Okay, fine. Patiently, you'll wait your chance. You dash across the road and into the undergrowth on the other side. An armoured column of Drakirum come marching past on their way to the bridge. See, I thought the Drakirum were the bigger ones. I thought the Drakirum were the ones that were more like orcs. But anyway, we'll see.
Oh, like the creature things?
Yeah, so Gyaks, I thought was, in my head, Gyaks were like tiny, horrible goblin types, and the Drakirums were more like the big, muscly warrior types. Okay, so you take a few moments after the last number has passed by, and then, okay, so this is actually your attempt to cross the road without being seen. Pick a number from the random table. In other words, we've got to do a die roll. So let's do a die roll. I think this is our attempt to get across the road unseen. Okay, so we've got to throw again. We have rolled a 7. If you possess the Kai discipline of camouflage, add 2. I don't think we do have that skill. RM, in fact, chose all the skills when I was creating the character. We do not have camouflage, so we don't get to add 2. But 7 is still quite a high score, so I think we're going to be all right. If it's 5 or more, turn to 1, 2, 5. I'll leave the die roll up for a second, just in case there's some action coming up. 1, 2, 5. 1, 2, 5. Here we go. Okay. Oh, look at this. We've reached the bridge edge. So I'll take this down so you can see this picture properly. So from our perspective, this is what it looks like. We're down on the riverbank, and we can see like a big battle going on the bridge above, and that's one of the main towers of the gatehouse. And then you can see, look, these are the winged things that are flying around.
Are those like little dragons or just birds? Or
no, they're the Zlan beast and the Kran. So that big one, that would be a Zlan beast probably, and the smaller ones are the Kran. So kind of like a pterodactyl and a dragon type thing.
Oh, that's cool. Okay,
so we managed to get across unseen. There's a fierce battle raging on the Durnstone. So the Durnstone is the huge. That's the name for the pier that crosses the river. Okay. It's of great strategic importance. Amidst the smoke and the flame, you can see the winged horse standards of the crown of Prince Pelethar. So the prince is the king's son. So he's basically holding the bridge with his troops. You determine that your best hope for survival now lies with the prince and the court guard and his elite bodyguard. If only you can reach his battle line, you feel sure that this will help you complete your mission. Him and his brave troops are less than half a mile away, but if you're to reach them, you first have to find a way or fight your way through enemy who occupy half the Great Bridge. There's no boats moored along the riverbank, and the water's too wide to swim. Yeah, you told us that already. So, under the cover of tall grasses, you make your way upstream to the nearest of the bridge's 2 gatehouse towers. So we're basically by the columns underneath, I think. At the base of each tower, there's an iron ladder. Oh, that's very handy. Which ascends to the loading hatch just beneath the wide center span of the bridge. If you can climb one of these ladders and gain access to the tower by way of the hatch, you'll avoid having to use the busy ramp to approach where the concentration of enemy troops is at its greatest. So basically, these are the choices. If you want to climb the nearest ladder and attempt to enter downstream, attempt to enter the downstream tower, turn to 62. If you decide to make your way under the bridge and then climb the ladder which is fixed to the base of the upstream tower, turn to 119. So there's 2 towers basically, one next to the other. We got a choice of 2. Do you want to go for the closest one or the furthest away?
Closest one, sure. I'll go with that.
Yeah, that'd be 62. Okay. All right. So we climbed inside this tower. Let's see what happens. Let me move the thing here. You reach the top of the iron ladder. You pull open the wooden hatch. Gives access to a bare stone chamber located below the bridge level of the tower. There's a short flight of steps leading to a closed door. You pass this, and there's 4 bodies of Summerlanding bridge guards. They're all dead. slain during the initial fight of the gatehouse. Their bodies have been pulled off the bridge road and thrown into this cargo chamber. You find a sword, a broadsword, a dagger, and 2 spears, and you discover a backpack containing enough food for 2 meals and a potion of lampspur. Right, now, lampspur is a healing potion. So it's a bit like in Dungeons and Dragons, you have healing potions. Every time you drink a potion of lampspur, it heals 4 endurance points. Very handy if you suddenly come out of a battle, but you think you're about to go into another one. So, so we're definitely going to take that. We'll take the meals. I don't think there's any point in us taking any of the weapons because we've already got the maximum number of weapons we can carry. And none of these weapons are better than the weapons we have. Okay?
Okay.
So basically, we'll take the magic potion. And we'll take the food. So more Kentucky Fried Chicken for the backpack, and 1 lampspur. I had some lampspur before, but I've already had them. So as like I said, I got pretty injured last time. Okay, cool. So that's useful. You then pass through a gap, and you see a steady stream of enemy troops passing by close to the gatehouse tower. They're on their way to reinforce the fighting in the middle of the Durnstone. That's the middle span in the river. Directly opposite the door is another flight of narrow stone steps that ascend to the top of the gatehouse arch. As soon as you see a break in the stream of reinforcements, you slip out of the door and hurry up the stairs. Okay, so we go to 242. So it looks like we went in the right tower because that was quite useful because there was some nice things to be had there. So 242. Let's have a look. 242. Okay. At once you... okay, here we go. Oh, bloody hell. This is a lot of text. Let me try and abbreviate it once more.
Yeah, there's a lot of reading.
Yeah. But I mean, that's not... one of the things that's nice about the book is they're really rich on the description.
Yeah, that is nice, yeah.
It's very good at visualizing everything for you. There's 2 reasons I don't want to read all of that out. One is I don't want to put people off buying the book because I'd like them to read it for themselves because I think they're very good and they should. The second thing is it will be very hard on my larynx to read out every word of these.
Yeah.
And boring for you. So I'll abbreviate it quickly. So basically, we reach the top of the stairs. The approach to the gatehouse is littered with the debris of battle. We can see that there's been a valiant fight put up by the defenders. The roadways blocked with broken carts and spilled cargoes of every kind. We scan the roadway. We notice 2 walkways running parallel to either side of the bridge. We're able to use a walkway to get across. And then we're able to drop down into the arch. We're in the bridge's second span. We use overturned wagons for cover. We then notice 2 Gyaks emerging from the shadows of the second archway. They are rolling a barrel towards a large hole in the bridge's stone parapet. Having jettisoned this barrel into the river, they then return to the archway to collect another. These barrels are like the ones behind you, behind which you're now hiding. Closer inspection reveals squares of yellow vellum pasted on their sides. On these leather labels are printed the following words in bright ink. Okay. Look at this. So let me see if I can you see that? Let me put that right up. Can you see that?
Yep.
So it sounds to me like
powder grade 2.
It's basically gunpowder, I think.
Oh, okay.
Boom powder grade 2, manufactured under the warrant of the Kingdom of Boar. Royal Holmgard Armory, so I bet the Holmgard Armory is wondering where all that disappeared to. Handle with respect, no hooks, no flames. At once, you realize the significance of these barrels. Yes, I do. They contain explosive powder. This is no ordinary cargo. It's being conveyed here with the express purpose of demolishing a section of the bridge. Right, okay. But before all of the barrels could be placed and detonated, the enemy must have overrun the prince's engineers and forced them back. One of the powder barrels has the length of grey cord hanging from the plugged hole in its size. Its fuse is measured, trimmed, and ready for lighting. So basically, I think we're going to have the choice of trying to blow the bridge up. If you possess a flint or a tinderbox and you wish to ignite the cord, you can do so. If you do not possess a flint or you decide not to use it, okay, so basically we can try and light it. Let me see if we've got any of those items. Unfortunately, no, we don't. I wonder if it was in that little hut that we didn't decide to investigate. We don't possess the flint, and we haven't got a tinderbox either, which would contain a flint. So we can't attempt to light the cord. That's a bit annoying, isn't it? So we can't turn to 544. We're going to have to turn to 359. It was quite funny, actually, because when me and RM were trying to escape out the monastery, there was a room that we could have searched for something, and she decided not to search it. And I was like, "You sure?" I have a horrible feeling there's going to be something useful in there that we need. And sure enough, that was the case later on. Okay, so
yeah, hopefully it's not back in that cabin. But
here we go. So this is what happens. You wait in hiding for a chance to move on. A troop of Gyaks passes close by, hurrying to support the battle up ahead. Enemy activity is increasing. Only the parapets running along the roadway are devoid of enemy troops. But there's no access to the stairs. You reach the upper walk. To reach the upper walkway, you have to scale the wall. So, do you have a rope? Do I? I think I do. Yep, I've got a rope. Okay, so let's have a look. If you have a rope, go to 377. All right, so we do have a rope, fortunately. You pull the rope from your backpack, tie a chunk of the broken masonry to one end, yada, 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 yada. You manage to climb up. Quickly, you retrieve the rope and coil it back in your backpack, and you continue to the third span of the bridge. Okay, so we managed to do that. So go to 214. All right. So I'm pushing ahead here so we get to the fun stuff. Okay, all right. There's another massive section of text coming up. Right. The gate of this tower is unlocked and you're able to enter without being seen. You pass through the tower, race along the walkway, third span of the bridge, in a narrow, ungated tunnel passing through the nearest tower. You stop to observe the battle raging in the piazza below. So this is like the piazza of the third section of the bridge. There's twin towers on every section of the bridge. And so the enemy is all the way through to the third span. I guess if we'd been able to blow up that middle section, they might not have got that far.
Yeah.
Desert Phoenix has said I might be right about Gyaks being like goblins. Yeah, I always remember the Gyaks being smaller than the Dracaerum, so I think I might be right on that one. Okay, so here we go. The prince's men are fighting like lions and holding the enemy back. Through the smoke and the turmoil of the vicious battle, you see the prince locked in combat with a huge reptilian creature. It's a Gorgaz. Now they brought out a miniature figure of this thing, and I used to own it. And it was a huge like lizard man holding a big battle axe that it was about to chop over his head. I think there's a picture.
Did it look like Lizard from like the Amazing Spider-Man 1? Something like that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
But bigger. Okay, so it's a fierce creature in combat. The Gorgaz fights standing upright on its powerful hind legs, wielding a big battle axe. The Prince Pelethar, he's fighting. He's on a wing. His white tabard emblazoned with a winged horse's personal emblem. They always describe all the flags and all the emblems of all the different kind of cultures and things in the world, which I really like all that stuff. I won't read out all of it now. Unfortunately, though, he's in the deadly duel when he's suddenly struck by an unlucky arrow. Someone's cheating. A Gyak has fired, shafted the shaft of the arrow penetrates his chainmail, and your heart skips a beat when you see him scream and falter. Sensing victory is imminent, the Gorgax raises its great axe and strikes a mighty blow at the prince's visored helm. One of Pelethar's court guard pushes him aside, and the black axe whistles down. Swift axe saves the wounded lord, but decapitates the guard. With Pelethor wounded, the tide of the battle's turning in the enemy's favour. You must quickly join in the battle. Before they're forced to retreat. From your position in the tower tunnel, you can see 2 ways to get to the piazza. Okay. One is by a marble staircase. The second is by way of a cargo line that is fixed by a pulley lever to the tower wall. So basically, we can either do descend by the staircase, or we can do a Kevin Costner and swing down by a cargo line attached to a pulley on the tower wall. So do you want to kind of do the stuntman action, or do you want to take the stairs?
Sure, yeah, do the stuntman action, yeah.
I think so. That's a bit more dramatic, isn't it? Let's do the cargo line.
Yeah.
1:15. Okay. And we are going to jump down. So what would you say, Josh, is your favourite TV show that you've seen? Maybe not this year, but in recent times. You got a favourite?
Squid Game. I have to go Squid Game, yeah.
Squid Game. Oh, do you know what?
I quite enjoyed that, yeah.
I felt that you could have watched that show again and they could have edited out all of the backstory about the guy trying to find his brother.
Is it like the first episode or 2 or 3? Like, you mean that part? Like the?
No. I mean, I like the stuff about how people ended up in the game, but you've got that subplot about the guy pretending to be one of the guards and he's trying to find his brother.
Oh yeah.
I think all of that stuff could have gone. I think it was much better when you didn't really know anything about the players, and you know that for me was just keep us in the world and keep us guessing. Don't show us what's going on outside. But other than that, I really loved it. It was such an original show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking forward to season 2. I'm just worried that, because they're rushing it somewhat on Netflix, that maybe the quality will be not as good. So
we'll see. But, it was very reminiscent of what was that film where all the girls are on the island and they've got to kill each other, all the school kids? Battle Royale. It really reminded me of Battle Royale, and I'm a big fan of Battle Royale. Okay, so here we go.
I think the oh, sorry.
No, go on.
I think the lead of Squid Game is going to be in the Star Wars series, The Acolyte, which sounds like it'll be a steaming pile of shit. Hopefully not. But
Andor was pretty good, so you never know. That's given me some hope now.
Yeah, this just has seems like it has the message plastered all over it. So
I liked the Mandalorian. I thought the Boba Fett show was terrible, and I really wanted to see a Boba Fett show. I thought
that and Obi-Wan are just they're.
I thought bad. Obi-Wan was terrible. Obi-Wan had some good moments, had some good ideas, but then all this crap in it as well, and it just was terrible. Lots of unnecessary side quests and stuff that he just wouldn't have done if he was trying to keep incognito. I always felt that should have been a show about someone else, and he should have turned up as a guest character. I don't think doing a show about him was. I like Ewan McGregor in that role though. But anyway,
he's great,
okay. All right, so you've done your stuntman action, Josh, using your cloak to protect your hands. Very wise. You grip the cargo rope tightly and step off the edge of its loading platform. I'm just going to put the heating on. It's getting freezing in here. It's like Santa's grotto. Let's turn it on. Okay, because Josh, everything is so expensive in the UK now with the heating bills and everything. By the way, these are the new Outcast hoodies. Nice, eh?
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah, because these are for everyone that. Well, not everyone's got them yet, but these are from this is the show that we just did.
Is it like a hoodie or like just a long sleeve?
No, it's a hoodie. I'm wearing one right now.
Oh, okay.
So they're the new ones. Anyway, it's so expensive. Like people, I put the heating on for like half an hour at a time.
Yeah, not cheap.
Just like I woke up in the middle of the night last night and I was absolutely freezing cold. Anyway, here we go. Okay, so you drop towards the piazza below, but unfortunately you realise there's no counterweight on the other end of the pulley. At the baseline, stack several boxes and barrels. Fearful of crashing into these, you swing out on the rope and then release your grasp in the hope of avoiding them. We've got to do a die roll.
Okay.
If you possess the Kai discipline of hunting, do we? I forget. Let's have a look. We do possess hunting. That was one of the ones that our picked. You can add 1 to your die roll. Okay, all right, here we go. We're going to do a die roll. Let me share screen because, no cheating. All right, so we're just going to tap that. Here we go. We're going to throw a D10 and we can add 1. Oh, look at that. We got a 9. So we got a 10.
Oh, nice.
So 424. I think we're going to be all right. Usually higher is better in these things, so I assume it's going to be good news. You have swung clear of the boxes and the barrels, but you cannot slow the speed of your descent, and you land heavily on the unforgiving surface of the Durnstone. Instinctively, you roll over to lessen the shock of the impact. So basically what it's telling us is that we've just done a James T. Kirk, landed and done a cool roll.
So did we get any injuries or no?
We did. You're winded by the fall. You get scrapes on your elbows and chin and your knees, and you lose 1 endurance point. If you have survived this hard landing, turn to page 387. Now, I think we're going to need the die roller in a minute, so we'll keep that up there. Let me just take 1 off of our endurance. That puts us at 16. Okay. I think I may attempt to heal us again in a minute, but you wouldn't be able to do it on that section. So 387 we're going to go to. 387. 387. Let's have a look. 387. I do like the way it kind of describes the cool roll. Another big section of text. Oh, and here's the Gorgaz. We're going to fight the Gorgaz. Okay, so basically we land, we shout our battle cry. So the battle cry, by the way, is for Summerland and the Kai. That's what they scream when they go into battle. We join Pelithar's court guards, and somebody tugs at us. Well fought, young warrior, but where are the other Kai? And I'm afraid I'm the only Kai. So this is a sergeant, and he's like, fall back. Okay, so there's a bit of a battle going on. The soldiers are shielding the wounded Prince Pelithar. Suddenly, the Gorgaz appears from out the smoke. Okay, so blah, blah, blah. We've got to fight the Gorgaz. Okay, I'm going to show you the picture of this guy. So there he is. That's the Gorgaz. Can you see that?
Wow.
Yeah, he's pretty mean, and he is pretty mean because he has got...
kind of like a Rancor?
Yeah, a little bit. He's got combat skill of 20 and endurance of 20. So we've got a bit of a fight on our hands here. So before we fight him, I'm going to quickly down that potion that restores 4 points. So that's going to put our endurance up to 20. So that matches his. It does say, without a moment's hesitation, you draw your weapon and attack the mighty Gorgaz. Without a moment's hesitation, whilst downing my healing potion, I attack the mighty Gorgaz. Okay, this creature is immune to Mind Blast. So Mind Blast is a Kai skill. It's a bit like Force Blast, but I don't think I have it anyway. No, I don't. It's not one of my Kai disciplines. My Kai disciplines that RM picked are Hunting, Healing, and Mind over Matter. In other words, I can try and move objects. I also have the skill of Tracking. None of those are going to be any use in this fight. However, we do have +2 with our broadsword. We have +1 because our broadsword is super cool. So the difference in our combat abilities between us and this guy is 1. He has combat skill of 20. We have combat skill of 21. So there's not a lot in it. That's why I thought I'd better down the healing potion. So we're going to have to do some die rolling here and see what happens. Okay, so if you win this combat, turn to 540. Let's see if we do. So first combat round, we want to roll high. Okay, use your magic powers now, Josh, to increase our die roll. Okay.
All right, done.
Yeah, good. Thank you. I wanted to make sure you'd done that. Here we go. That was nearly a 9. Okay, so that's 5. So that's going to be... So on the combat results table, with a difference of +1, a die roll of 5, that's still pretty good. The enemy has taken 8 damage. We've taken 2.
Oh, nice.
So our endurance has dropped to 18. Just going to write these on the chart. his endurance has dropped to 12. Okay. So then you see, now we do another round of combat, and that's how it goes.
Okay, yeah. So he's a little closer to dying.
We're off to a pretty good start. Here we go again. Oh, see, I forgot to tell you to use your magic powers.
Damn.
You didn't use your magic powers. We got a 1. A 1 is not going to be good for us. Let's have a look. A 1 is... we have taken 5 damage, and he's taken 4. So he is now down to 8. And we are now down to 14. Lucky I took that magic potion, eh? Otherwise,
yeah, it was a good call.
Yeah, it was a good call. We might need it afterwards, but okay. So, right. Okay, this time, Josh, don't forget to use your magic powers. All right. Are you ready?
All right, I'll try.
Okay. All right. So here we go. So 3rd round of combat. It's a 4. That's not too bad. Could be worse. A 4 is 7 damage to him, 3 damage to us. So he is now on 1 hit point. We are now on 11, or endurance. I shouldn't use hit points. I should say endurance. It's a D&D thing. So I think we're going to kill him on the next blow. All right. So don't forget, Josh, use your magic powers. All right. We're not doing 2d10. Clear that. It's very useful, this die roller app, isn't it? It's very cool.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Yeah.
Yeah, just type into Google free die roll app. I think it's one of these things you can make a donation for if you want, and you can get like really souped up versions of it. But it's quite a cool way of doing stuff online with people. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna pick our D10. 3rd round of combat. It's a 9.
9, nice.
It's a 9.
So that should finish him off.
Pretty sure that's gonna be
kill wise, not the other way.
He's taken 12 damage and we've taken none. So that is really good. Okay, so we're now on... He's dead. We're now on 11, which is not good. So every chance we get, when we go through a section of the book and we're not either exerting ourselves physically or there's no combat, we will heal 1 point. And I think it's probably worth using up all the remaining times we can do that in an adventure, of which there are 5. I think it's worth using all of those. Okay, so 540. Let's go to that and see what we got. I think at this point we're going to get to enter the city, which is like the 3rd act of the story. The giant Gorgaz crashes dead at your feet, gushing green blood from the mortal wound you've opened in its chest. Its evil followers hiss at you with anger and spite, but then their bravado suddenly evaporates as they flee from the Durnstone, turning and routing in a chaotic mass towards the safety of the Alameter. That's the ground on the other side. Quickly, the prince's bodyguards regroup to form a protective wall around their wounded leader. The dying prince looks up into your eyes and says, "Brave young Kai, we came in answer to the beacon's call." Oh, that's the light that we set off in the tower that me and I managed to do. You know, the beacon of Amadine is lit. You know, it was like that. Right, so the enemy flee, yet they will return stronger than before. You must take a message to my father, the king, which is in Duranor, or all is lost. Take my horse and ride for my father's citadel. Go quickly, ride like the wind. May the luck of the gods ride with you. Okay, if you possess the discipline of healing, turn to 282. Fortunately, we do possess the discipline of healing. So let's have a look. I'm hoping it's going to give us more healing powers than normal. Because we're pretty injured at the minute. Pretty battered. 282. Here we go. You place your hand under the prince's right arm and grasp the shaft of the arrow which penetrated the chest wall. You then transfer the power of healing through your hands to his trembling body. For a few moments, his tortured face is softened by a peaceful serenity. Sadly, your worthy effort provides him with a short reprieve, but then he closes his eyes and slips away into the eternal darkness. So basically, we made his passing less painful. Well, that's nice, I suppose. Captain takes your arm and leads you to the archway to where the prince's horse is. "Godspeed, young Kai," shouts the captain. Yada, yada, yada. You go to the bridge's south gate, wide road, and continues and on for a mile, and you head east. Okay, so we're now over the bridge, and we're heading to the city. All right, how are you doing for time? Are you all right?
Yeah, I can stay for a little longer.
Okay, great. All right, that's good. Well, I'm going to dash for a P quickly. Let me just turn to page 351 so I don't lose where we are. Oh, there's even a picture of him on his horse. And we're going to have three choices. There he is on the horse.
Wait, I'm sorry. That's us or someone else?
No, that's us. That's us on the horse.
Okay.
That's him on the horse because he's got his cloak. Right, I'll be 2 seconds. Bear with me. I guess I should have turned the camera off, but it's not worth it. Okay, I am back already. All right, so there's three choices. Let's have a look. It says, if you possess the Kai discipline of tracking, which I think we do. Do we? No, we don't. We have hunting. Turn to 385. So we don't have that. If you do not possess this skill, you can leave this junction and follow the highway to the left, or you continue by way of the highway heading off to your right. Okay, that's helpful. So we just got over the bridge and we're already lost.
Great.
I mean, there's a bit more information. Hang on. The prince's horse is a magnificent animal, strong and fast and sure-footed. After several miles, the woodland highway comes to a junction where two smaller roads head away in opposite directions. There is a wooden signpost lying beside the road that's been hacked down. And the wording on it is no longer legible. So I guess they're kind of fearful of enemy goblin paratroopers. So, well, I guess, okay, so we go left or right. Which way do you want to go?
I'm sorry. So we do or don't know like what's.
We don't know which way is the right way. It's 50-50.
No indications of it or anything, or.
No, the sign has been mangled, so we can't even.
We just go maybe the right way and hope that it's the actual right way.
I like your thinking. Maybe they went for reverse psychology and it's really the wrong way. But okay, well, let's do it. So that's 206. And let's just hope it doesn't say your journey ends here. Okay. You've ridden about a mile along the road. When you come to a bridge across one of the river tributaries, the center of the bridge has been destroyed. Acrid smell of boom powder hangs in the air. It must have been demolished by Prince Pelathar's troops several hours ago. Unable to go any further in this direction, you're forced back to the junction. Well, if we go back to the junction, then we're going to go the other way, which is 44. But
wait, so now we're going. We backtracked and went left. Is that what it is?
Yeah, it says we have to go back to the junction. We can't go any further that direction.
Okay.
But what's interesting about it is that it's giving us a different number to go to instead of the one that we would have originally gone to. So I think I think that delay has caused us something. Desert Phoenix has just commented and said, I thought about extracting the narrative out of the game books and making them normal novellas, and then we'll combine them to several books into one novel. That would be a great idea, but I think that would be something you'd have to do in conjunction with the Diva family. Ben Diva has, I think, got the rights to everything his father's done. That is a very good idea, though, and they have done some novels set within this world. I've never read any of those, to be honest, but Okay, so all right, so we've gone 216. You return to the junction and continue along the road without slowing. You must have ridden about 3 miles when in the distance you spot the unmistakable silhouette of Gyaks. They're standing in the middle of the track and haven't seen you. High above the trees, you hear the cry of Kran heading towards the west. They've just landed these Gyaks and are heading back. Okay, so it's a squad of enemy scouts, all right? If you wish to gallop straight towards the group, hoping you'll catch them by surprise and scatter them, turn to 530. If you decide to leave the road and take the forest to avoid them, turn to 255. I vote we charge them.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, you want to go with that? Yeah, let's be we're closer to home. Let's be brave and try and see what we can do. All right, 5:30. So I seem to recall when you get into the city, it's like packed with refugees and shit. So even when you get in the city, getting to the king's area is not a simple thing. Okay, this is what happens. You spur your horse and gallop. You're less than 30 yards away from the group when they slowly turn to face you. Wide-eyed and shocked with surprise, half their number panic and dive for the undergrowth. The remaining half dozen fumble to unsheath their weapons as your horse bears down on them. Okay, we've got to do a die roll. If you possess the Kai discipline of weapons skill, and you're armed with the weapon to which the skill applies, we do. That's our broadsword. That is our +2.
Oh, okay.
You can add 2 to the number that you've chosen. Okay, so yeah, you can choose 5 skills, and one of the skills you can choose is to be skilled with a weapon of your choice, and that's why we have +2 with our broadsword. You don't start with the broadsword at the beginning of the game, but fortunately, I was lucky enough to find one. Okay, so we're going to throw dice, add 2. Oh, clearly you use your magic powers, Joshy, because we've actually rolled an 11.
Oh, I wish I had magical powers, but
yeah, what's up with that? Okay, so if your total is 5 or higher, you decapitate the leading Gaiac with a single swipe of your weapon. There you go, Josh, and pass through the group unscathed. You see, if we'd rolled lower, we would have taken some damage. Okay, so basically, we perform a very skillful maneuver known as the Mel Gibson Braveheart, and we get through and come out the other side. Now, is that a film you've seen, Josh? Braveheart?
I think I've seen at least parts of it on TV, like years ago when I was younger, but I don't really remember much of it. So I should probably,
I'm going to tell you now, in my book, that counts as a no. That's a film.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
When you can get round to a buddy who's got a really big screen, or he's got a home cinema or screen projection system or something. I mean, it's historical nonsense, but it's a great movie. Great scene.
Oh wait, that's with Mel Gibson, right?
Yeah. About the revolt.
I think I have seen that. I think it's either that or The Patriot, maybe. Can't remember.
The Patriot is the one with the gunpowder. The Mel Gibson Braveheart is the one with just swords.
Oh yeah, it was The Patriot I saw. Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So we avoided the patrol. We've barely gone another mile when there's another much larger group of enemy scouts ahead. We're forced to get off our horse, hide and count them. There's 30 of them, several armed with bows and spears. Well, I don't think we're going to be charging into them. But the sun has just dipped below the horizon. Daylight is turning into dusk. Aware that Gyaks possess very good night vision, you leave the trail and head into the trees. So we were forced to turn into the forest anyway. Okay. So 176. Let's see how we go. Okay, so you spur the prince's horse to a gallop and race him deeper into the forest. This fine war horse, agile and strong, by far the best horse you've ever ridden. Although the ground is tangled with roots, he never falters. The Gyaks are soon left behind. When you judge it safe to do so, you slacken your pace. I'm sure I give the horse a horsey treat of some kind. The lights faded fast. If you wish to continue your ride in the same direction, turn to 65. If you wish to change direction and steer your horse to your left, so to follow the bearing of the trail that you've left behind. In other words, if we want to travel parallel to the to the road we were on, go to 201. So we can either continue to kind of ride at random deeper into the woods, or we can try and kind of follow a parallel course to the road. What do you want to do? Parallel course sounds like the more sensible course of action.
Which one?
Paralleling the road.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, well, I'm thinking like if we went through the woods, we wouldn't really, less of a chance to come across anything possibly dangerous. True. I guess that could kill us.
But we might not be going the right direction.
Yeah. Let's do the parallel.
All right. 201. Okay, so you soon well, that's not much of an option, but you soon emerge from the woods onto the main highway. I think this is good, though. You recognize this road. It's the main turnpike which connects the northern part of Torren to the capital of Holmgard in the south. You spurn your horse onto the highway, turn him towards the south. The road is wide and clear. Surface is in good condition. You're confident you'll now be reaching Holmgard by morning. That turned out to be a good choice. I'll show you where we are on the map. So if you look at that, let's get the map up here. Let's see when we are. Right, let me get the right bit. There we go. So you can see Holmgard is that town with the big fancy flag thing. That's the road that goes from, and we're on the south section. See where the bridge is? We're on the southern section of that road, so very close to the town. Okay. So I think we're going to be there in a second. 210. So actually, that turned out. I think we would have probably got lost if we'd gone in the woods. All right, you ride. Turn to 210. You ride along the highway. You notice that light is fading fast. I think it's already dark, really. But okay.
Yeah, seems like it's pretty close to that.
I think that's a bit of a book continuity issue there. You decide we should take cover and rest for a few hours in the tree line bordering the highway. Once you're satisfied that your resting place is secure, you pull your warm green cloak and drift off into an uneasy sleep. Okay, so we have a rest. Now, I can use my healing powers.
So we're just like sleeping on the ground somewhere?
Yeah, with our cloak. But they have the Kai have this green cloak. You know the cloaks that the hobbits have in Lord of the Rings? The Kai have a similar cloak when you put it over.
I wish I could say I could, but I've never seen the Lord of the Rings.
That's a discussion for another stream. Yeah. Well, I mean that's.
I mean, I could have by now. I just don't really have much interest in like the elf type, franchises. Well, whatever, that type of stuff.
Well, you know what? One day
I've actually seen the Hobbit movies though. They're okay, I guess.
Well, look, one day you'll get a chance to see all three of them on the cinema because that happens quite frequently in the UK. So it's got to happen quite frequently in America.
Yeah, I'll keep my eyes open for it. Yeah.
If you get a screening and you can go and see all three together, mate, do it. You won't regret it. Trust me. Okay. All right. Okay. So we've gone to sleep. Drift into an uneasy sleep. 389. Let's have a look. 389. Can't believe you've not seen Lord of the Rings. Right. Okay. We're awoken. We're awoken by loathsome cries of Kran circling overhead. How nice of them. That's your alarm clock. It's a clear dawn sky, so we did sleep. So I've upped our endurance to what we could heal it to. They peel away and they fly off to the north. Having feeling that you've not been seen, you decide it would be prudent to break camp and leave at once. Without any further delay, you head further south along the highway towards the city. Okay, let's see if we can get there. 335. Must be close to it by now. Okay, here you go. You've ridden for several miles. You've seen no sign of refugees or enemy soldiers. Unusual. You continue to ride as fast as your horse will carry you until you find yourself approaching a high ridge. You feel confident you'll be able to see the capital from this high vantage point. Turn to 215. Pretty sure that was where we started from. But no, I just showed the picture, but it was different. Okay. Okay, we've gone wrong somewhere here because we've gone wrong somewhere here because we've ended up going around in a circle. I don't understand how that happened.
Maybe we skipped a part or something.
We might have. Yeah, I'm not sure, but well, I'll tell you what. We're gonna try and get to the city via. I'm just gonna pick us a route to go to the city. Because after the bridge, you should be almost there. 5:10. Let's have a look. Okay. All right. So, well, to get to the city, we're going through the graveyard of ancients. You become aware of a strange mist that swirls all around this grey and forbidding place. It rises up from fissures in the ground and from out of the cracked, crumbling tombs of this cursed necropolis. This heavy air is damp and foul and redolent with decay. It feeds a blanket of low cloud which keeps the graveyard locked in a perpetual gloom. Not a great place to hang out. With growing intrepidation, you make your way towards its broken gate. As you draw closer, a creeping chill seems to penetrate your very bones. You're less than 100 yards from the shattered entrance when your horse becomes startled. No matter how much you urge him on, he refuses to go near this place. Reluctantly, you're forced to abandon your horse and continue your final approach on foot. Because you see, I'm pretty sure we could have gone straight through this place earlier and avoided... anyway, but that might have been a mistake on my part. Okay, cool. We got a cool photo. Well, a cool. This would be one of... I think this is one of Gary Chalk's original pictures. He was the original artist. I think that's one of his original ones. So this is where we are, the graveyard of the ancient. Yeah, he's a very good artist. And he's still around, actually. He was signing books at Dragon Meet, which is like a fantasy convention place. And it was on the weekend just gone, but I was in Scotland, so I couldn't. That was when I met up with Critical Drinker. So I couldn't make it. Okay, so here we go. You pass beneath the main gate and realise once your passage through the graveyard is not going to be an easy one. Well, of course it isn't. The ground is broken, covered in thorny grassweed. The air is difficult to breathe. Got a sickly sweet gases coming from open crypts. The sounds are very faint. Carefully, you make your way between the ancient pillars. Okay. I'm sure there'll be some cool artifacts to be found in this place if we can survive. Suddenly the ground collapses beneath us, and with a yelp of surprise, we drop down into a dark void. So I think we're dead. I think no, I don't think so. I think we've fallen in. You won't get killed that easily. You don't just suddenly like turn to it. I mean, you can, but it's unlikely. I don't think so. No, here we go. You're winded, but not badly hurt. You lose 1 endurance point, so we're down to 15. You've dropped 15 feet or so through a fractured roof of an underground tomb. Okay.
Okay.
As the dust settles,
not too far of a drop, I guess.
You see the walls of a burial chamber. You're unable to climb back because it's too slippery, cursing your ill fortune. Bollocks. You look around the gloomy chamber in the hope of finding some other way to leave. Okay, if you have the Kai discipline of 6th sense, I don't. I actually said to our we should have that, but she said no. So there's a sarcophagus with a domed lid carved with the name and likeness of an ancient noble. Okay, so and then there's an arch tunnel that exits the chamber. So we've got 2 options. We can go straight for the exit, or we can try opening the sarcophagus.
Wait, why would we want to open the sarcophagus?
I have to admit, disturbing the dead doesn't sound like a good idea to me. Should we head for the exit? Okay, 146.
Yeah, that sounds like a smart thing to do. So.
Okay, the wall of this tunnel is dark and slimy, aren't they always? You can feel a panic begin to enter in your stomach. No, I don't. I'm the lone wolf. I tweak the nose of terror. I don't fear panic. At length, you come to a junction where the tunnel meets a narrow corridor going from north to south. If you wish to turn north, if you wish to turn south, or if you go ahead. 3 options. We can turn north, south, or keep going straight ahead.
Wait, I'm sorry. You said north, south, or straight ahead?
Yeah.
And isn't south the way we want to go, or no?
Not at the minute. It doesn't really matter at the moment because we're in this graveyard, so we're not on a road.
I mean, so you said wait, north, south, or just any other way?
Or straight ahead.
Or straight ahead. Sure, just straight ahead, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that works.
That sounds like a good idea. 458. Might not be, but we'll soon find out. I think it's a bad idea. Okay, so we've entered a room. I won't read the description. I'll just show you the pictures that contains this.
Whoa, like big killer hornets?
Yeah, we're basically in Jason and the Argonauts, Ray Harryhausen giant wasp territory.
Does it say how big they are?
We've entered a hall. Strange and daunting chamber containing several circular pools, and out of the pools are where these things come. And there's various stuff about murals and things on the walls. It's very detailed. I won't read it all out here. But suddenly you become aware of a strange syrupy sound, like treacle coming to boil. Bubbles of white gas seem to be forming around the glowing pools when suddenly they break the surface. And these winged creatures, hornet-like insects with 3 sets of wings, float like pearly-coloured eggs. The shells rapidly dissolve. Yeah, okay. So I think they've just hatched. At the base of their abdomens are barbed stingers. One dart embeds itself in your neck and makes you scream out. Oh, that doesn't sound good. You lose 1 endurance point. Okay. If you are to survive these insects, you must attack and kill them all. Right, well, that's not good. Okay, we are injured. And they've got...
we don't have a flamethrower.
No, unfortunately, flamethrowers don't exist in the world of Magnamund. So we're about to... Desert Phoenix is saying it's strange hearing page numbers higher than 350. Yeah, because this is like a special edition director's cut of this book, and it goes up to 500 and something. The original. I'm just curious,
Lance, is there like any movies or like series or anything that have been made from like the book or whatever?
They did a guide to the world, and I think there was sort of like a leaning towards a role-playing game. Desert Phoenix might be able to chip in, and but there were a few bits and pieces. There was a little range of figures. And there were a couple of like expansion things that kind of, and you can buy the maps. You can buy the maps of all the different kingdoms, because as you buy the different books, one of the things that's really cool is that this map just gets bigger and bigger. So this is like a section of a world that's about this book big, and every time you buy a new book, the map slightly expands because you're exploring the world.
Okay.
I always thought that was a very cool feature. Whenever I got the new book, I always like turned to see, what's the map? Where are we going? And there's one of them where you go into like a desert kingdom, which is really cool, and all the little buildings are all slightly different on the map. And I always thought that was very cool. Okay, so these guys, by the way, they've got combat skill of 16 and endurance of 16.
What weapons do we have?
Our broadsword, which is +3.
That's it, just the broadsword?
We haven't got anything else in particular that's very... We've got broadsword and a dagger. So you can only carry 2 weapons. Okay, so, Joshy, be ready to use your magic powers. Now, we have that amulet that gives us 1 reroll, don't forget. But we can only use it once per adventure, but we're definitely going to need it in this battle, I think. So, because if our endurance falls below half of the beginning total, it's not there yet, but it's not far off because we're on 14 right now. If we go below 10, or 11 actually, we have to turn at once to page 184. And I have a horrible feeling if we go to page 184, that might be your adventure ends here. Oh no, okay, it's not. But it's going to be bad. So we need to kill these things fast. Okay.
Yeah.
So we've got a combat value of +5 because we've got combat skill of 21. So we're on +5. Okay. So we're going to throw a dice. Here we go. It's a 5. A 5 on +5 is they take 10 damage, which means they're down to 6, and we take 2, which means we're down to 12.
Okay. It's not bad. It could be worse.
Yeah, so we need to kill them on the next one. Now, if the next one is a really bad roll, I'm going to do I think we should use the re-roll thing. So, okay. So here we go. Let's see what we get. That was going to be a 10. It's a 6.
Nice.
I think a 6 is going to kill them anyway. It was going to be
I
a
thought
10.
you said it was a 10.
No, it was a 10 and it
That's
down.
good.
Yeah, okay. We kill them. So 9 points of damage.
Okay.
So I don't think we need to check the thing if at any time during this fight. Okay, actually we do need to turn there because we're down to 9. That's bad, by the way. We're down to 9. That's very bad. It's bad, okay. Says up Mr. Mackey from South Park. So okay, it's bad. It's bad to attack ant-wasp hatchlings. Okay, it ends bad for you. 184. So we've got to go to 184 because I think we've been stung. So we need to see what happens. And it says if we possess the Kai discipline of healing, turn to 388. Well, fortunately, we do possess the Kai discipline of healing, which I think has probably just saved our life. 388. You draw upon your healing powers to combat the insidious effects of the venom. As your Kai discipline neutralizes the toxin, you feel your strength returning, and you're now able to continue the combat. Well, we don't need to continue the combat because we killed them. On the last die roll, we killed them. If you win the combat, turn to 293. Okay, so very good. We win the combat. So I think if we had not had the discipline of healing, I think we would have died then. You kill the last of the vicious wasps, and you leave the dark passage and continue on. Turn to 526. God, let's get out of this creepy place. 526. You follow the dark passageway until you come to a burial chamber. Another one. Illuminated by several glowing grey crystals. 10 large granite tombs are arranged in a rough circle around a twisted spike of ancient bronze, which is set into the center of the dusty floor. Moments after you enter the chamber, a concealed panel of heavy stone grinds shut behind you and seals off the passageway. So we're trapped in true Indiana Jones style. We're trapped. Okay, so then fearful that you might now be trapped in this crypt, you try to force open the panel, but no joy. Opposite the stone wall on the far side of the crypt, you discover a second passageway, but this exit is blocked by a portcullis. Lying close by, you find some human skeletal remains, partly encased in rusty armor. They're the bones of a luckless tomb raider. So,
sounds like our death is on the horizon.
No, we've got a couple of options coming up. He dared to enter this chamber more than a century ago and has been incarcerated here ever since. Among the bones, you discover a leather pouch, cracked, and you peel it open and discover a small earthenware flask with a wax seal. Break open the seal and sniff the contents. It's a potion of lamp spur. So despite its age, it's lost none of its potency. You heal 4 of your things. So we're back up to 16. So that's good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, that is good news. Yeah, I might as well just have it now. There's enough in the flask for 2 doses. Well, I think we might as well have that. We might as well have it all. Go up, and then that puts us up to 20. So we're almost.
Well, that's 20 health.
Yeah, and our maximum health is 22. So we're almost back to normal. That's good.
Okay. Likely no death then.
Well, that hopefully. We also discover a sword, but it's -1 in combat if we take it because it's so knackered. Well, we don't need that.
Yeah.
If you want to search the rest of this burial chamber, turn to 455. If you decide to try and raise the portcullis, well, I think we might as well search it while we're here. What do you reckon? I think because
go for it. Yeah.
Doesn't matter whether we raise the portcullis now or in 5 minutes' time, does it? Okay, you're passing one of the newer tomes when you hear a strange clicking sound coming from inside the granite sarcophagus. If you want to try and lift the lid of this tomb, turn to page 342. If you decide not to disturb it, turn to 371. Do we want to try
I'd
and
say
lift it?
pass on the sarcophagus, yeah.
All right,
I don't think anything good will come of that.
Well, it's going to be another creature, isn't it, of some kind? I mean,
probably, yeah.
But if we kill it, there might be all sorts of like treats inside the thing.
Yes,
but...
yeah.
Okay, so your eye is caught by the tomb position closest to the portcullis. Engraved into the signs are depictions of battle from an ancient war. Some of the combatants shown are wearing armor bearing the sun emblem of Summerland. That's the good guys. By contrast, their adversaries are depicted wearing little or no armor, blah, 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 blah. Their weapons are strangely shaped. Closer inspection, you see that many have skeletal faces or bodies, which seem to have been ravaged by a disease. On one side of the tomb, you find an inscription. It reads MS 3551. The tomb is almost 1,500 years old. You're tracing the grime-encrusted numbers with your index finger when you hear a dull click. A puff of dust arises from a heavy stone lid. A panel in the surface of the tomb is unlocked and slid open. Cautiously, you peer through this square hole and see a silver breastplate of an ancient summoning knight of the realm, black with age. You also see the pommel of a sword. You're able to retrieve the sword, but it's crap, so there's no point taking it. -1 due to the condition of the blade. What about the breastplate? Is that any use? Doesn't say anything about it, so I don't think so. Turns 284. Okay. I was hoping that was like a click of a door that was going to get us out. Apparently not. 284. Here we go. You examine the portcullis. Okay, so we've now decided to examine the portcullis.
Okay.
Which seals off the exit. When you grasp the weakened bars and pull them, the ancient metal gives a tortured creak and flakes of rust fall away. This gives you hope. With some effort, you can tear it apart. Okay, we've actually got to have combat with the portcullis now.
Wait, what's the portcullis? Whatever that thing is.
Portcullis is the thing that drops down in front of a gate. You know, it's like like the gate of a castle.
I thought when you said we had to have a fight with it, that was like maybe some creature or something that I had never.
No. We in order to escape, you have to do the same thing. You have to conduct an effort to break it, as if it were regular combat. And any endurance we lose is a result of us like becoming tired. So we're gonna have to do a die roll. It's only got combat skill of 10 and endurance of 15. So that means we're already rolling on the plus 11 table. So that's very good for us. I think I forgot to share this last time. Right, so let's roll the dice. Here we go. So on plus 11, we roll a 7. We roll a 9.
6 or 9. Okay,
that's a 9. On the plus 11, that's lots of damage, man. That is on the 9 chart. On the plus 11, that's an instant. That's a K, which means automatically killed, which means we automatically break the portcullis. We don't take any damage.
Oh, nice.
So if you win this combat in less than 4 turns, turn to 532. I bet if it takes longer than that, all these creatures start coming out of coffins and things. So 532. That was good. That was a good result. Clearly our guy goes down the gym, you know. Likes to work out a bit. So 532. Here we go. You manage to break it open. You crawl through the gap and along the corridor which lies beyond. So we're not quite out of it yet. Turn to page 31. See if we can at least get to the city before we end for this evening. 31. Here we go. The corridor. Oh, we've got another picture. The corridor soon winds out into a large hall, and at the far end, there's a stone staircase leading up to a huge door. 2 black candles on either side of the steps dimly illuminate the chamber with unnatural light. Now, if this is the ancient graveyard and no one's been here for ages, is there some kind of caretaker that wanders around and like occasionally lights the candles? I wonder.
I mean, that would be interesting.
Yeah.
It's
a bit like those. No, you wouldn't know because you haven't seen Lord of the Rings. But yeah, okay.
Nope.
So you notice that no wax has melted. And as you get nearer, the candles are giving off no heat. What are these? Magic candles? Anxious to leave this evil tomb as quickly as you are able. No shit. You examine the door, hoping to find a latch. Right, this is what the door looks like. See that?
Shoot, no, it's okay. Now I can see.
Yeah, you got that.
Yeah,
So it's like a face with a key. Now, if you possess the gold key, and which now that gold key, I don't think I've got it. Let me just check. Kai shield. Oh God, do you know what? I forgot that I've also got in my possession the Kai shield. So our combat value, standard attack, is actually +5. So our combat skill is actually 23. So I've been doing that.
25?
Yeah. So I've been doing that a little bit wrong. Yeah, I forgot that I picked up a Kai shield that gives you +2. So we've actually got +2 for the broadsword, an extra +1 because it's a cool broadsword, and then +2 for the Kai shield. So we have +5 on all of our combat value things. Our combat skill is 18, so it takes our combat skill to 23.
And you said that's at a 25?
No, it's 18 normally with +5.
Oh, so ours is just like pretty high then.
Yeah, very high. Yeah, and then it's the difference between you and your enemy that's what counts. Anyway, all right. So we did that. We probably would have taken less damage, but we're up to 20 now, so we'll let that go. So, do we possess a gold key? No, we do not. If you decide to remove the door's locking pin, turn to 524. If you have the Kai discipline of mind over matter and wish to use it, turn to 212. I would recommend using that because we don't get many chances to use it.
Yeah, okay.
It's our ability to move things with the mind. 212. Let's have a look. Okay. All right. So after examining the lock, you are confident you can open it without touching the keyhole or the securing pin by using your Kai discipline. Blah, 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 blah. If you decide to use it, yeah, I've already said I decided to use it. Turn to 123. Okay, so we're confident we can use it to open and this way we can also avoid any traps. Okay, so we're gonna use it. 123. Focusing your psychic power upon the lock, you try to visualize the inner mechanism. Gradually, it appears in your mind. It's very old, but you sense it's still capable of functioning. After a great mental effort, lose 1 endurance point. You're almost in peril of losing your concentration when a subtle click confirms your strenuous exertions have not been in vain. Pin is a much easier task. Upon your silent bidding, slowly it rises up from its brackets and falls to the floor. So the large granite door swings open. The grey half-light of the graveyard floods into the tomb. Outside the door, a small flight of steps ascends to the surface. You draw your weapon and cut your way out. But during the process, you cut your hands and your legs, you lose another endurance point. So we're down to 18. Finally, you emerge in the necropolis at the place close to a narrow pathway between 2 black stone mausoleums. Don't think we're going to go in those. Looking down into the hole from which you've escaped, you see the door to the tomb slowly closing. A crawling human laugh reverberates out of the very ground in which you're standing. Okay. Shivering with fear, you turn away from the hole and run as fast as you can towards the southern gate. So I think we're out of this place. 87. Sounds like a good decision.
You're in there for quite a while.
Yeah, the moment we were, and that's one of the special. There are special locations in each book, and in each special location, there's usually one really cool item. But I don't think we found it. We probably needed to.
Probably that sarcophagus.
Yeah. The moment you pass through the graveyard's southern gate, you feel a great weight has been lifted from your shoulders. Yeah, no shit. The clean air clears your lungs and your head, and the feeling of sense of dread has now melted away. Okay. We run towards the distant perimeter field works. This high log wall extends all the way around the city and provides Holmgard with a defensive line running to the main city walls. As you head towards a sentry post, you begin to hear the excited shouts of the guards stationed all along the log wall. They're cheering you on. So they recognize you from your cloak. Okay, so then as you're rushing along, I think it says your heart begins palpitating wildly, all the colour drains from your face. The last thing you can recall before shock and exhaustion rob you of consciousness is falling forwards into the arms of two outstretched soldiers. You may wish to note on your action chart you have survived the perils of the graveyard of the ancients for future reference. Sometimes those things come up, like you might be facing a particular enemy in another book in the series, and it may say, did you pass through the graveyard of the ancients? And it might give you a benefit somehow.
Okay.
So he's passed out, and then it goes to 406. You regain consciousness, find yourself lying in a bunk inside a sentry post close to the wagon gate and the perimeter wall. One of the soldiers who caught you when you passed out is now kneeling beside you with a flask of water. Heal 1 endurance point. You sit up, swing your legs off the bunk. A battle-weary sergeant enters the sentry post and immediately recognizes you from your cloak and so forth. My liege, he says respectfully, where are the Kai? Where are the Kai? They're all dead! We're in desperate need of their skills and leadership. The enemy presses us most cruelly on the outer northern wall. Our casualties are mounting high. Clearly, he's an actor that hasn't had much work. Sadly, you inform the brave soldier of the fate that has befallen your kin and the urgency of your desire to see the king and report to the calamity. He's visibly shaken by your news, dumbstruck by the shock of it. He motions to his man holding the water flask to return to the station on the outer wall. Then he asks you to follow him while he locates his commanding officer. Eventually, he finds his superior officer, a young lieutenant, who is busy overseeing the reinforcement of river barges. When you tell him your account of what has happened, he too is visibly shocked, but hands you some wine, which immediately restores 3 endurance points. You see, wine equals endurance. All those kids watching, don't try that at home. You finish your meal. Oh, there was some food as well. Very good. And the lieutenant motions for you to join him. Together, you mount up and ride through the encampment towards the main gate of Holmgard. Okay, good. I think that's a good place to stop. So we're just about to reach the main gate of the city. Finally,
Man, it's a very detailed story. It's interesting though.
Do you know what? I think you'd like it. I mean, I you know, it depends. Like if you're going on like a coach journey or a plane, and you know, and you don't want to have the laptop on, or you're fed up of staring into a screen.
Yeah.
These are great fun. And if you've got a little dice rolling app, you can do that. But how they how they do it in the books of old is they have this random number chart here. And you're supposed to, like, when you're rolling the dice, you're supposed to do this. And hang on, wrong side. You're supposed to do this and put your finger somewhere. Oh, I've just rolled a 2, you know. Or I think you're
that's how you do it without a dice. Okay.
Yeah, you're supposed to kind of get a pencil and go like, you know, and sort of do that without looking. Oh, I've rolled a 3. But from day one when I had these books, I had a D10, so I didn't need to do that. But the idea behind that is you don't need to buy anything. Everything is in the book. So you got your book. You don't even need any dice. You're ready to go because you can use that thing on the back. But obviously, you know, most people won't use that.
So am I like the third or fourth guest to, like, you know, follow this journey?
You're the second. No, you're the third, because first of all, what we did was we did an interview. We had a guest interview with August Hahn, lovely guy, and he was a big fan of the series, and he became friends with Joe and Ben Deaver. And when Ben decided to re-release the books, August is kind of like the showrunner for the series of the books. And there was a group of sort of really diehard fans of Lone Wolf who'd really gone into the books and like mapped them all out So they had the whole thing out like a D&D map, you know, with all the numbers of what led where and what connected to what. And I think in the books over the years, there were a few loopholes or inconsistencies. I think we just did a loophole at one point because we started off and we ended up.
Yeah, I noticed you mentioned something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure we went through one bit. We went through one bit twice. I mean, that can happen. But I think we took a much longer route than maybe we if we hadn't done that, we might have we'd just gone straight for the Tomb of the Ancients. We might have finished it tonight. But no, I really enjoy it, and it's a lot of world building. There's a lot of detail. It's a really good, it's a really good series. You can buy them. You can get. There's people selling the original editions on eBay, and the prices can be really varied. I saw somebody selling the whole set for a few $100s, I think, the other day. But Joe Deaver, he died before the last two books in the series were completed. And part of this whole revitalization project is so that the whole series will be completed. So I'm like, well, you see, I always wanted to finish the whole series. And I actually thought when they got to the end of, I think it was book 10 I got to, I've got it here. I thought book 10 was going to be the last one. I don't know why I thought that, but I thought book 10 was going. When it wasn't, I was like, oh, for God's sake. And then at that point, because I was probably about 15 when I first started getting these. And by then I was like a late teenager and, you know, more into, you know, going out on dates and going to the cinema and that sort of. But now that I'm a 50-year-old nerd at heart, and single.
Hey, right there with you. I mean, not 50, but you know, nerd.
Yeah. You the second bit. Yeah. I mean, I'm back into these, and I just think, yeah, it's something I enjoy doing these. But it's nice to be able to do it online because it's good fun playing it.
Yeah.
With someone.
Thank you for having me on, man.
No,
it was nice of you to think of me and invite me on. So I appreciate it. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, we've got a couple of discussion streams coming up.
Do you know who your next guest is going to be for like the next part of the story?
No, I'm going to try and do a playthrough of one of these. If I'm ever in on a Friday, I'm always going to do it on a Friday. And and if I happen to be
I'll keep my eye out for it because, or sorry, yeah. I'll have to keep my eye out for it because I'm interested in seeing, where it goes.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're ever free, you can jump on. It doesn't matter if I've got another guest already.
Okay, cool.
You can come on as well. And then we can fight over the choices. Roll a dice to see which way we go. But I'm also going to try and do some on Sunday evening. So Friday evening my time and Sunday evening my time are when I'm going to focus on doing these. And my guest interviews, who are like film, television, theatre people, whatever, they will normally be on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday nights. I'm still trying to get my man from Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon on, Will Johnson, who's a good friend of mine.
That'll be a cool guest.
Yeah, he's in my Diamonds in the Sky short film, which you can see on the YouTube channel. It's there. Just look up Diamonds in the Sky Martin short film and you'll find it. And he's in that, and he's a really good guy. He's a phenomenal actor. So he kept it really quiet. He didn't tell anybody he was in that show. And
so he's like a big or like a small part in House of the Dragon.
Have you seen House of the Dragon?
No, I mean I've never watched Game of Thrones. I've seen like a lot of the kill scenes on YouTube, but I've been pretty tempted to watch House of the Dragon.
Well, he's the guy.
Good reviews for it, but
he's the guy who gets his head lopped off.
Oof.
So, and he's part of the.
Is he out of it pretty early in the season?
No. He's in a few. He's got a decent supporting role. It's a nice role.
Nice.
I was actually when he died. I thought his character, because they set his character up to be an antagonist, and you thought he's going to be in the next season, and he gets killed.
They decided to kill him off. Yeah.
No, he gets killed very quickly, very abruptly. It comes out of nowhere. It's a really good shock, actually. And I was gutted for him, but at the same time, it was still a really nice role. And everyone's going to remember that, so that was really nice. So fantastic. Well, look, Josh, thanks for having you on. Those people that are watching, thanks for tuning in. It's always nice to have some comments. Thanks for Desert Phoenix. I hope they're going to join me again on the next one. I'm hoping to do a few more of these through Christmas. I might have a couple of chat things throughout the Christmas period. Also, one of the film scripts that I did, I think I've got a dummy copy of it here somewhere. Maybe not. Yes, there it is. So several years ago, I was supposed to make this movie, but it didn't happen. Pegasus Bridge. I have decided to publish the screenplay because it's not really a spoiler because everybody knows what happens with the history. If you're into the subject, you know. And this is a dummy proof copy. It's now out. It's now out and available to order on Amazon. Loads of people have ordered it today already. I'm really chuffed with that support. So I just want to thank those people.
Oh, great. Okay, that's
yeah,
cool, man.
I am going to do a stream about it. I'm also a guest on World War II TV on Sunday, Paul Woodidge's channel. I'm there at 6 o'clock on Sunday week, not this Sunday, Sunday week, on the 18th of December. And I'll be a guest on his channel, I think at 6 o'clock, talking about that very subject. So there we go. All right. So thanks very much for tuning in. That's it for me. I'm going to go and cook my dinner now. It's 9 o'clock and I'm feeling hungry. So
all right, see you, man. It's thank you for having me on again. So,
Josh, thanks so much for coming on, and it's always a pleasure. And we have such good banter when we're moderating Drinkers channel and keeping the porn bots away. And it's really nice to have got to know you outside of that as well. So it's always very interesting for me to see what people from the different generation think of different shows because we were all brought up on different things. So thanks everyone for watching, and we'll be back again soon, no doubt with Joshy in tow at some point. And we are